Alright guys, it is Sunday and it is time for a Nightmare Corridor and Cursed Realm walkthrough guide, showing you guys my teams and some general guides as well. So let's just get right into it. Disclaimer, I'm a little hungover, so yeah, that's just the disclaimer if I stumble upon my words or such. Right, so let's start with the Nightmare Corridor and let's just speedrun this because I actually already recorded this video, but my microphone wasn't turned on. So for this first formation here is the Athalia formation. If your Athalia is bigger, and by bigger I mean if your Athalia has SI 40, you can get a much more improved time, even with a worse pet. For this one, you can use lots of different heroes. You can use Greg in this formation. In this formation, you can also use Saurus, but I'll show you guys some variations later on. Next up. Oh, and also I should mention that this is an RNG heavy team. It can, for me personally, it hits down to 33 seconds and it hits upwards of 1 minute and 11 seconds. So yeah, it varies a lot, and that's just how that is. Now for this formation, it's hard to go wrong. For this week, there's a buff on this formation. That means you need to use 3 Maulers, but for most people, they were already using 3 Maulers. Obviously, in this formation, if you have a weakened version of Brutus, you can use them. You can use a Warwick in here. You can use Antandra in here. There's lots of different variations. Basically, you just need Awakened Sophia and you need 3 Maulers and probably Crasio to do the damage. For the pet, you could use pretty much any pet in here. I'm using the Talisman. You can use the Fox pet or you can use the Owl in here as well, right? Next up. Here is the Scarlet team. Now, if you don't have Panda at level 18, you can use the Blade Ridge at level 12 or level 15. That one is probably better at 15 as well, or it was for me anyhow. One thing you might want to try out is throwing in Eugene into this formation and then frontlining Jerome and either Rain or Rowan, right? And then tossing out Rosaline for Eugene. If you don't have Panda at 18, that can be an improvement for the formations, but I will show you an example for that later on. For me personally, it was a pretty RNG heavy team. However, the reason I'm using this team is because it hit 20 seconds a few rounds, right? So if I could get the RNG to align, my time could actually be 7 seconds better, and that would put me in the top 200, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get the RNG factor. Next up, this is the same formation as last time. You need Trashia's Engraving 30 for this team to work. Another thing you can do is you can throw in Awakened Leica if you have her available over. You can throw her in over Emilia, and that for some people improves their time. For me personally, it did not. But another thing that it also makes available is that this team, right? Because here is where I use Awakened Leica, but Awakened Leica is not needed at all for this team. It's just a luxury, really. For me, it added some consistencies, but later on in the video, I'll also show you guys some formations, or some formations in this team that does not use Leica. But yeah, obviously you're using Seal, and in this team, you can toss in units like Antandra, you can toss in units like Mishka, and you can get a fine result as well, but I'll show you guys that later on. Next up, this is the Baden team. I'm using the Owl in here because I freed up the Owl from this team by using the Talisman in here, and it improved it slightly. Played around a bit with this team. I wasn't really able to do anything that made me improve my teams by much, so I just ended up settling on this variations. Before I head over to a more general guide or some different formations, I do want to show you guys one replay, which was this one, where my Scarlet team hit 20 seconds with Panda at 18, right? So that's obviously lovely, but obviously I wasn't able to do it on a serious hit. And actually, let's just, for fun, go check out what went wrong for that hit. I'm guessing it's the first team. Yep, the first team did 10 seconds too bad. So that sucks. Right, let's head over to the browser real quick and I'll show you guys something else than this one. That'll come later. That's the Cursed Realm guide. But yeah, I will show you guys some free-to-play options, or not free-to-play options, but some different variations of my teams depending on your investments. So here, shout out to this guy who has a Russian name, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it because of the difference in the alphabet. But yeah, shout out to this guy. I found him on the crowdsourcing Discord server, so shout out to those guys as well. But the main thing I want to show you guys from this guy's formation is the fact that he's using a beast at level 12, right? But because he has Athalia as such a high investment, and by high investment I mean he has her at the signature item 40, he's able to get 23 seconds on this round, which would be very lovely for me, but I'm not willing to invest my signature items materials yet because the Abyssal Expedition is around the corner, and yeah, our guild is competitive in that, and as a free-to-play player I'm just gonna have to save for events like that. Next up, here, right, he's just like me, he doesn't have Brutus, or he's not using Brutus anyways, but yeah, pretty similar to me. Another thing you can do, right, as I said, Antandro can work in here, Warwick, as he's doing in here, can work in here, Brutus can work in here, Damia can work in here, right, he's using Vithiel in here. Next up, this is the formation I spoke of earlier, right, when I said that you could use Eugene in this company, in the Scarlet team, right, along with a lower pet level, and then that team would do just right for you. So he's doing that. Next up, this is the same team for me. He does not have Leica, so thus he is using Mishka instead, and he's hitting around the same time. For me, this team was a lot less consistent, and also he has a higher investment in Liberta, and then lastly, he's using the Panda in the Baden team, right? Sorry if things were moving a bit fast, but I already recorded this video and I want to head to bed. So yeah, all right, let's head back to the game and go to the Cursed Realm. So for this Cursed Realm, the way I view Cursed Realm personally is that it's a puzzle, right? You have to figure out what is the best possible teams that you can make with the heroes and the beasts and the collections that you have available to you personally. So I believe I actually solved this puzzle for me personally this round, because for me, I'm lacking 2 key awakened heroes to make this one go through smoothly, and that would be Lucius, and that would be Leica at a higher investment, but even Leica at a higher investment would not save me, and I'll explain why. So for the first team here, I'm using a Baden formation. One thing you can do in this team, which I'll show you guys later as well, is you can use awakened Leica along with Liberta in this formation for a better formation. However, that formation requires you to have the Spooter at level 18. So if you don't have that one, don't bother trying to make it work. I tried it out, it did not work, and I believe level 18 Spooter is required for the Leica variation of the first team. Next up, oh joy, this is this was where most of my frustrations for this round of the Cursed Realm came, because this team specifically is very collection dependent. There are variations without Liberta, and I'll show you guys those later on. TLDR, you're using Jerome instead. But the main thing for this one to work is you need a +2 or a skill +1. That means a skill level 1 collection for Tamrus, right? And I'll show you guys what that looks like. So this one, right? Because he needs this effect. The first time the holder receives fatal damage, they are immune to the damage. He needs 1 cheat death for this team to start rolling. If he doesn't have that, this team will do 13 to 15 billion damage. So yeah, sucks, but it's collection gated. And yeah, I'm using Panda in here. I'll show you guys some variations without Panda later on. Next team. All right, so this team is the Seal team. Again, you can play around with it. If you have Baba Yaga, I tried using in here. If you have, obviously, if you had the awakened version of Brutus, you could use it in here. If you have even the new Wilder hero, the new Wilder tank, you could use him in here. But for me, I'm just running a dimensional comp and I'm getting 11 billion and I'll settle for that. I tried out some different things, but they did not end up improving my times for me anyways. But I'll also show you guys those different things later on in the video. This is where the new awakened hero Lucius slots in. If you have him, you need him at a higher investment. I'm not actually searched this team or this team. Oh yeah, it's probably this team, right? Because the next team is good. But yeah, for me, I don't have Lucius, and I'm already using my Merc on Baden, who I don't have either. So I have to end up making something else. And yeah, this is what I came up with. I also tried out, there's a Queen Vithiel formation that I used previously along with the Talisman pet, but that one wasn't able to hit as high as this team. This team can hit like 8.5 billion or so. But yeah, my other formation was more consistent, but it wasn't able to reach those highs. So yeah, this is just what I did. If you have Lucius, I'll show you guys what you do if you have him. Next up, here's the well, I guess this is just like the super formation. I like to call this the Kren formation because Kren is actually pretty crucial in here. But yeah, obviously you do need Awaken Chimera and make sure you have the SP effect on Awaken Saphir, right? And then these heroes in combination stun lock the enemy team, do a lot of damage along with the owl, and it's great. And there are no collection requirements, so it's a fun round. Now this last one here, here you need this beast at level 15. If you don't have it at 15, I'll show you guys what you can do. But yeah, if you have it at 15 or 18, you can unlock the Athalia formations. And also in here, I wanted to use Liberta, but I needed Liberta in here because I couldn't get the Jerome formation to work out. But yeah, I'll settle for 9.5 billion damage for this round. So yeah, I'm decently happy. I mean, I know I can get another 4 billion damage if I retry it from this team. I can get 1 billion damage from this team, 1 billion from this team, right? 1 billion from this team. I think this is actually around the max, and then this one can also hit 10. But I'm not willing to sit here and basically burn diamonds to try and hit those RNG things. But what I am willing to do is sit here and tell you guys what you can do if you can't make the teams that I have. So I'll throw it over to Arise. This is a prominent guild. If you guys don't know, of top guilds, Arise are definitely one of the top guilds in the game, and they have this guide for Cursed Realm. It's kind of like the Cursed Friends guide, if you guys were around back when they made guides. Obviously now Floof doesn't do any guides anymore, at least not that I'm aware of. But yeah, you can use this guide. The elephant in the room is obviously that this is not an English guide, right? But what you can do is you can use... there are lots of different translation tools out there. You can Google your way, and it can translate images for you to some success, right? But let's go over the things that are significant in this guide. So first of all, they have a Merc priority here, which I agree with, because this is required for the last team to work, right? And obviously Lucius is required for the Lucius team, but there are variations without Lucius. So let's go look at here. So this is what I told you guys about, right? When I talked about the Leica formation in the first round, where you can use Liberta. Things to note about this. As they say here, right, you need the pet at level 18. If you don't have the pet at level 18, don't bother with Leica in this round. Second thing to note in here, if you're going to use this thing, you need to make sure that Liberta links with Naruko, so that that basically means Naruko has to have the lowest HP. Do with that information as you wish. Probably the easiest way to achieve that is removing everything from Naruko and then also lowering your tank tree. But for most people, they don't have pet 18, right? So we end up using a Baden formation. So there are a few Baden formations. Again, there are formations with Liberta and Baden. However, for me, I needed Liberta elsewhere, so I ended up settling on this formation down here. Yeah, and that worked out pretty well for me. And as you can see here, pet level 12. I mean, I used to use this pet in this formation, so you guys can use this at lower investment. But basically, just try out both pets and see what works out for you. Next up, so here are the here is the Belinda formation. Now, this formation I could not get to work at all. For me personally, did not work. Even with my collection on this guy, Jerome, everything just died out, and I got around 13 billion damage. So what I ended up doing was pulling in Liberta in here, right? As you can see, I didn't do the Yennefer combination here. I had the one that I showed you in the video with Lavatune instead. I don't know why they don't have that one listed. However, this was the formation. Oh, wait. So wait, what is going on? Oh, yeah, I used Tambrus over Yennefer, right? But yeah, so for me, this was what worked. Again, there are different variations in here, and what you do if you don't have Panda at 18 is you can go for this formation. Again, you can translate this text here, but as you can see, the damage does lower quite a bit, which was also my experience before I got Panda, and then obviously some different variations down here, but it is Belinda basically running the show, right? So if you don't have Belinda, you're probably gonna have to merc her or try her out at like lower investments, because Belinda is one of those heroes that might be able to do some decent damage even at like legendary. But yeah, definitely build out Belinda. Right, here we go. This is the SEAL team, right? For me personally, my Atheos is not built out. I don't have Gabius built out, so I just skipped those two. I mean, I tried them, right, and it didn't work out for me. I don't have Brutus, so I settled on this formation. My Baba Yaga was weaker than Merlin, though, so I slotted in Merlin over her. And yeah, this is kind of what I ended up doing. Here's the Lucius formation, right? So obviously, if you have Lucius and you need a big Lucius, you can go run this one. However, as you can see, there are some steep requirements in here. Basically, pet 18 is a soft requirement, it seems, for the Lucius team. Obviously, I haven't tried it out. I also didn't manage to secure a Lucius mercenary for this week, so I wasn't actually able to try it out. But what I ended up doing was a variation of this combination down here, because I did not have Lucius and I did not have Matria, so I ended up on this variation. Actually, this is the exact variation that I do. And yeah, as you can see here, doing 8 to 9 billion. And again, here are some different variations here with the Fire Breather at like level 12, I believe this is the level 12 Fire Breather. And that's not the Fire Breather, that's actually the Talisman, my bad. But yeah, that's a variation for you guys. And then for the 5th team here, as you can see here, right? This is the exact formation for once I'm able to build the best in slot formation. But yeah, as you can see here, if you don't have Sophia, you can use Rem. If you don't have Chimera, yeah, then you use Rem. So yeah, it's just Rem is your clutch substitute for this round. And then lastly here, this team, right, the Athalia team, is kind of requiring a low requirement for this team is the Deer at level 18 and also the Deer at level 15, because that's what gives the shield that allows the teams to survive, right? So if you don't have pet resonating 18 or 15, or the Deer at 18 or 15, then you can't really use these two teams. And then you can look towards some of the teams down here. So as you can see here, if you have pet 12 to 15, then you use the the Spooter, right? And as we saw up here, if you don't have Spooter available in Team 1, you can use the Fire Breather, and that helps out there, right? And then obviously, if you don't have Athalia, right, you can use the Daemon formation with Vithiel, but it's also using Liberta, right? For me personally, this was the formation I ran with because I needed Liberta elsewhere to make Belinda work. But yeah, and then obviously, if you don't have Vithiel, you can use this one, which is super free-to-play friendly. It's kind of free-to-play friendly, right? Because you will need to find a Helios substitute if you don't have that, and obviously Liberta you should have built as a free-to-play player. Another thing to pay attention to, obviously I'll link this so you can go look at it yourself, is the collection notes in here, right? One thing I will note you guys is here, this is a pretty hard requirement, the level 2 collection on Tamras and Jerome. That's what gives them the cheat death, and that's what allows the Belinda comp to function. Without it, I mean, Belinda will work, but it won't do 20 billion plus damage, right? As you can see here. And then we have the different stats you want for the different heroes. But that's it, right? So, I walked through my formations in the Nightmare Corridor. I walked through my formations in the Cursed Realm. I gave you guys some different pointers as to where you can find help. Obviously, the best way to find help is going to the crowdsourcing Discord server and sifting through people's formation or whatever formations other people did, and see if anything works for you in there. For the Cursed Realm this round, you're going to have to play around a bit with collection, which is annoying. For the Nightmare Corridor, there's a lot of RNG involved if you don't have really high investment, so that's also annoying. But I believe it will improve in the future, especially for the Nightmare Corridor once the Athalia team rotates out. I don't know why I went in here, but yeah. As you can see, I'm saving all my SI40 materials for the Abyssal Expedition, so that I can help out the team and stay in the guild. Not that I think they would kick me, they are nice guys. Alright, I'm going to bed. I hope this video helped you guys out, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. I guess I could show you guys this, but it doesn't matter when I still haven't figured out how I share my Treasure Scramble teams with you guys in time. That's a work in progress. Yeah, this doesn't tell you anything. Anyways, I'll see you guys next Sunday. Sorry.